morning, everybody, and welcome back to Money in the Law on MyFM 101.3 with your host, Jay Marston. He's from the Marston Law Group. I'm John Drohan from Main Effort Financial. We're also joined by the Hollison Hub, represented by Tom Harmon, who's the executive producer of Money in the Law. Whew. And this is kind of like the end of summer.
Woof, you all right? I'm a little winded there coming up the stairs. You okay?
I'm a little winded because it's been summer. We've taken a little bit of time off.
Yeah, a little summer hiatus there, as they say.
Hiatus, yeah, and you know, for all the right reasons. You know, you have to spend time and enjoy the weather. And
recharge those batteries.
I feel like it's funny when you say that because I don't feel like my batteries feel very recharged.
Mine always feel a little drained after the recharging. I don't know if it's like tired. You know how like if you charge your phone too much, it starts to not take a charge as well.
Hot. Yeah.
I feel like I'm not taking the charge. I feel like I'm not taking the charge the same way I used to take the charge.
You don't retain the charge. The battery. It's like you have to recharge. You have to keep recharging.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like within 5 minutes, I'm down 20%. I'm like, oh God, what happened?
Yeah. I gotta plug this thing in again. So we're back. We've had a little bit of time off, but we are here once again providing you our service.
Head back in the game.
Our service of talking about anything that has to do with money, anything that has to do with the law, particularly estate planning law, which is that's one of the things that I find quite interesting.
Kind of our métier, as you say. Yep.
As they say overseas, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But we bring it to you in such a way where it's a little bit easier to understand. It's easy for the average guy to understand. And when I say guy, I don't mean that in a sexist kind of way. I mean average person. Sure. However, as we were just saying, it was just happening like right before we started. We tend to we tend to identify better with like the boy humor as like because there was some I don't know, some off-color jokes that were happening. We call them middle school jokes.
There's a sophomoric theme that tends to run through the show. I guess that's probably the best way to say it.
And again, I say it every time I hear it. It never gets old.
No, it never does get old.
I want to be embarrassed by
it.
I want to be embarrassed when I hear like bathroom jokes and stuff, and I laugh out loud at them, but I can't say that I won't.
Hey, you are who you are.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, so our kind of message, our stick is best received usually by people like in our own age, in our own demographic.
Yeah. That's right.
When we're talking,
they live with our own level of juvenility.
Yeah,
that's right.
And so if you find yourself maybe standing around a barbecue or standing around maybe or at a beach somewhere, and you see Jay and I may happen to have something in our hands, usually probably like some sort of
some neoprene cup holder, might have something in it. Yep, right. That's right.
Some sort of a koozie thing.
Might have a logo on it. Yep.
Right, with a logo. Feel free to come up. And you know what? Just ask anything, whatever's on your mind. We'll be able to. I'm sure we'll be able to talk about.
So in that theme, you'll love this. So you're listening to this. It's a week after Labor Day, right? So last weekend was Labor Day, and I was heading down to the Cape. My usual Thursday night. We have an office on the Cape, which obviously I voluntarily take one for the team, and staff on Fridays, especially during the summertime.
Every day.
So I know, button your hat, button your shirt, your hat's falling out, and so I go down to the office. So I work there on Friday. I kind of clear. Oh no,
all day.
I'm down there. No, I'm down there Thursday. I'm down there Thursday after work, and I'm just nobody's around. Just hanging out by myself. My wife's coming in on a Friday. My daughter's coming in on Friday. Some family coming down. So I'm just chilling out, right? Thursday afternoon, right? And I'm having a beverage, an adult beverage, and I'm having a cigar on the back deck. And don't I get a text message from somebody who is down on the Cape who has trust questions. And they want to talk trusts
on a Thursday afternoon.
On a Thursday afternoon before a long holiday weekend. Yep. I said, I said, you know what? I said, I'm in the middle of something right this second. I said, let me just finish up what I'm working on, and I can come over and talk. We can talk trusts. We can talk trusts. Yep. And so I finish up, and I head over, and of course, right away, there's happens all the time. Hey, can I get you? I said, no, let's talk shop first.
Sure.
Let's talk shop first.
I don't like to drink when I'm talking about other people's money.
No, absolutely not. That's right, absolutely not. Right, absolutely not. So we talk shop, whatever, but I was laughing at sort of what you just talked about. It was probably an hour-long trust consultation, estate planning, probate avoidance, in bare feet, shorts, golf shirt, doing, kind of having the conversation. It was sort of the personification of everything we talk about because There were no big words used, right? It was all about, let's talk about planning as it relates to you, specific to your family, in about as sort of layman's terms as you possibly could have it
And
go.
thank God you were there. Thank God.
That, absolutely. I mean, crying out loud.
Well, I mean, you joke about it, but at the end of the day, and we've said this before on the show, people don't talk about this stuff on a regular basis. Most people don't.
Sure.
Right? Most people aren't talking about their estate plan. You're not like reviewing, oh, so listen, I have a living trust and I also have a durable power of attorney. Can you review, you're not talking about that in like your normal vernacular, right?
No, that's right.
So, just like anything, if I'm not used to talking about microprocesses or something like that, I'm not gonna be smart on it. I'm not gonna be like kind of educated on it.
Right.
So when I do need to talk about it, or when I want to talk about it, or when there's something comes up, why wouldn't I want it in like kind of plain English?
Oh my God!
Why wouldn't I want it in something that I can understand?
And by the way, conversation exactly the same as it would be in the office, right? But the whole vibe is different.
Well, you also did get a call Thursday evening, so it's almost like you were making one of like a special house call, like a special.
Absolutely right.
Exact,
Yep, that's right. But it was
well,
funny.
that's what you do.
But it was
for
funny.
your
But
clients.
the conversation, just like I said, it relates to how we talk about things on this show, right? In a way that there's no airs. There's nothing stuffy about it. It's about it's that conversation on the deck. So what I think I want to do this. Oh, well, here's what you want to do that. And then you can literally kind of joke about the issues and the concerns that everybody has in a way that everybody remembers. It totally hits home. Somebody doesn't have to walk out the door and say, we were talking about, was it the revocable or the irrevocable or irrevocable? And I don't know why he used the word, he said it a couple of ways at a different time, and I don't understand why. Revocable, revocable, family trust, living trust, irrevocable, irrevocable. It's all, no, this was just like three people sitting around, which is exactly what it was, and like, yep, what do you want to do? What are you trying to do? This is what I'm trying to do. And why are you trying to do that? This is why I'm trying to do that. All right, here's how you want to do it. This is about
Think about it. I mean, this doesn't apply to just stuff that we do. Think about if you've ever been sick, or if you've ever been in the hospital, or a loved one's been in the hospital, and you have a doctor that can come in and go blah 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 and kind of talk circles around you with like kind of all a bunch of this medical jargon.
Sure.
Or someone comes in and says, "Okay, let me show you what an echo does." Like, you have an issue with your heart. We have to check it out.
Right.
We're going to do this thing called an echo. And I had a doctor. I watched him explain this, and he said, "Okay, imagine this is your body. I slice it down the middle, and I open you up, and this is kind of like a side view of your heart." And he's walking you through it. He's showing this is this, and explaining kind of in third grade English. This is supposed to do this. See how it's doing that? That's good, right?
And think about it, like most people don't come into contact with those types of, not that they don't come into contact with any professionals, but you don't come into contact with the healthcare system a lot unless you're really, really sick.
You don't want to.
Or until you're really, really sick, right? And you don't bump into a lawyer. You don't socially choose to go hang out with lawyers, right? For all the obvious reasons, right? So the minute
I can't think of one.
there isn't one. So the minute you can connect with somebody who can, first of all, put you at ease, now that you are in ease mode, the absorption of that information gets exponentially better. Right? It gets easier, and just because you're not worried about it, you're just like, yeah, I get it.
Well, that's
totally
the key, right? You're not worried about it, right?
That's right.
So there's that anxiety level kind of goes down a little bit.
Yeah.
And because of that, are you going to remember everything that the lawyer says? No, you're not. Are you going to but you're going to at least get the gist of it. And most importantly, if there's something that you need to get cleared up, you're not afraid to call him back.
That's right.
And say, could you just run this by one more? My wife is here now. Could you kind of talk her through what you told me?
You explained it in the office, and it made really good sense, and we left, and we kind of lost a little bit of it where our notes don't make sense. Could you help us? And because they hopefully enjoyed the time with you, the phone call, when they call back, is much easier to make. They're very, very comfortable asking questions, and so are you. You're comfortable asking questions, so you can come up with kind of the best scheme for everybody, right? That's really what you're trying to do. So that's the show, everybody, right there. All right, have a great day. Enjoy. Take it easy.
So this is why we're great. I'm just saying out loud.
I tell you, while we're on the subject of great, you know who wasn't great?
Who's that?
your boy, Bill Belichick's first
Ouch.
foray into college football.
I mean, I love it when we talk sports.
We
on
can
this
spin
show.
into that in a minute. I don't know if we have time for it. I know we have a show to do, but for those of you who didn't follow
opener.
that, you can catch there's a 15 minutes wrap up of that whole thing on YouTube somewhere. Could be worth the investment.
And the problem with Belichick is he. I mean, for all of the ridicule and laugh out loud the fun that people are making of him right now, he asks for it.
Yeah.
He kind of asks for it, and he's been asking for it for years and years.
Everybody bought his shtick when he was like crushing it and just
such a jackass. Like he was so awful to people and to the media. And
but when he's literally carrying an armful of Lombardi trophies around, everybody let it slide, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, when you're winning the Super Bowl and all you Patriots fans like whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he's doing something right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because he's letting number 12 start.
Yeah.
So
but he struggled a little bit last weekend.
He had a tough opener at the University of North Carolina. The funny thing is, at the game, so you had Michael Jordan was at the game. Lawrence Taylor was at the game watching his team get blown out.
At the beginning of the game, it was like Mardi Gras, and at the end of the game, it was like
that's unfortunate.
That was different response here. He's looking around to see where's the state police to walk me back to the locker room. Everybody left like nobody was around. He was like, "Yeah, you're on your own. Good luck." Well, no one's going to bother you. Don't worry about it. No one's looking to get your...
No one wants to ask you any questions.
No, you're good.
No
you're good.
One's getting any tape of
you're
you.
Good.
Yeah, it's too bad. Well, and again, it's just football. He's an older guy.
Yeah,
he's an old... But you know what? That's a tough way to go out, right? That's there's guys that like finish up strong and like they walk off like John Elway's like thank you, good night.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Like,
Mic drop.
I'm taking my Super Bowl trophy. And walking. Tom Brady kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
He's going down swinging.
Hey,
really.
God bless him.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. So what are we going to talk about today?
Good. You came in guns blazing. You get something on your mind. I could tell. I could tell.
So I don't, but I do. I usually.
I'm sure you usually do. Yeah.
All right. So this is what I want to talk about, and you're going to help me out on this. I want to talk about. I want to go into some detail. I like it when we talk details because oftentimes we tend to generalize things.
Sure.
You know what I want to talk about today?
What?
I might need your help on this.
Please, I'm happy to weigh in.
I want to talk about the durable power of attorney. I want to talk about why, because it's a very ambiguous thing, and it has. I mean, it's not ambiguous in the sense that it's many people don't really understand kind of what it can do and what it can't do, but. When we talk about estate planning, kind of talk about like kind of the big four. Like, what do I need? I need a will. I need a trust. I need a healthcare proxy. I need a durable power of attorney.
Yeah, you do.
Those are like that's my batting order, right? That I need.
Yep.
So I want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that document and kind of the importance of it and kind of when you need to have that, when that needs to get updated.
Sure.
So. I don't know if there's an attorney that's ever dealt in this. I would call them.
Dial in. Dial in.
I would call them. If you can't call in right now, we'll just have to use
use me.
Person to my left.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Quick break. We'll dive into that.
We'll take a quick break, and we're going to dive into the DPA, Durable Power of Attorney. I love it. I love that kind of talk. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us today on this Saturday. It was great to be back. Tommy, it's great to see you back. Don't go away. We will be right back.
We'll be here. And we're back, My FM 101.3. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Main for Financial. You are here with Money and the Law. Tommy's on the bag for us today. We're back recharging our batteries from the summertime, and we're getting into it as we move into the fall. And Dunkin' Pumpkin season or whatever you people get all fired up about. It's not my thing, but it's whatever. It's something. It's something. It's something.
So before we start on our topic today of durable power of attorney, you mentioned Tom on the bag, and you guys said you were talking about golf. So have you guys been playing golf? Have you played any golf, Tommy?
Just the range.
Just the range, right? Not even a round. And you have been playing golf at least once a week.
Yep, 9 holes every Tuesday.
So, I mean,
shot a 41 2 weeks ago.
I was going to say, like, you've been consistently playing now for at least a year, inside and out, right?
Yeah.
So you play. So is it working? So you don't embarrass yourself anymore?
No, I think. Well, it depends on who you ask, but I feel like out on the golf course now, holding my own a lot better.
Right, as opposed to asking, Kenny Sawyers to hold your own.
Well, as opposed to like, when you guys all know, when you start playing, you're like, you're very self-conscious about your game. You're very self-conscious about slowing up the foursome. You always feel like everybody's 1,000 times better than you. And so, no, I put some effort into it. Try to improve on a couple of things and a couple of equipment upgrades, courtesy of my brother-in-law. And so it's enjoyable to get out there and feel like
Be able to keep up, right?
yeah, keep up. That's really it. You know what it is? This is the thing. You go out with a bunch of guys, you're in the hunt,
Yeah.
right? Like you're not consistently, these guys shoot 45, 45, 45, and you shoot a 70 on 9 holes, right? That, you could be the guy. You could, if you have the day
You
of
have a day,
days,
right?
if the planets all line up, if the putting
Right.
comes together, you could see, you say to yourself, I had a pretty good round.
Right, and you know that's, and I'm sure that kind of, especially with the crowd that you run with,
Yep.
who usually keep to themselves, have nothing to say about
No.
anybody's performance throughout the round.
Sure.
I'm sure that like as time's gone on, they'll be like, there's been some like, whoa, I didn't see that coming.
Yes,
or,
absolutely
or
right.
wow, that's a good shot. Or where they have that kind of surprised look, like, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you parred that hole too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Or definitely it's the par of the hole. Or you start to see at the end of the round, you look at a couple of things and you say to yourself, 2 or 3 things broke my way, and you know what those things are. You're like, if I didn't 3-putt one, this, and this, I would have shot a this. And then it's like, that's when you start to say to yourself, all right, that's where you really feel like you can see the needle move a little bit.
Ooh.
And that's everybody in that group. So a couple years ago, everybody was just in there for laughs and giggles. And then all of a sudden, one off season, everybody kind of
They
went
powered up.
radio silent,
Yeah.
and they all started taking lessons, and they're buying every golf aid you could find on
Steroids, the
Amazon.com.
works, all of
They
it,
had
right,
private
yeah.
chefs. They were trying to, everybody cut back on
Inverted
their
sit-ups,
That's
yeah,
right. So all of a
everything.
sudden, everybody said, "Oh, I think I want to get serious about this," and nobody told anybody. And then they kind of broke it out. Everybody was like debuting themselves.
This
The
is
new
my
you.
uncle. This is my Uncle Lee.
Yeah.
He's going to join us and play with us. I've been playing with him every Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy. Yeah, don't ignore that PGA Tour card in his back pocket. He knows what he's doing.
His last name rhymes with Ravino.
Yeah, you might see him. He looks a little familiar. So that's it. So good. Yeah. So that's the thing. And at some point you feel like, okay, now, not that you don't ever win, right? It's never you never master it, but you just feel like, okay, there's a level of consistency there, and you can
Well,
start
that's what
to
makes
really.
it fun. Too.
Yes.
This makes it more fun.
Yeah, you want to be in it a little bit, right?
Right, and then that's the exciting thing about golf. The cool thing about golf is then you get to play somewhere else, right?
Yep.
And you get to play like, oh, we're going to play at this new place, and these, I've never been here before,
Right.
And you get to, and if it's a nice day, and then that's where golf is really fun.
Yeah, playing another course isn't a disaster for you. Like
Yeah.
you can go and enjoy another course.
Yeah.
You get kind of caught up in your own place that you play all the time because you kind of know how it works. Now you really got to think through it. So yeah, it's we've moved around a little bit, but it's been fun. It's been fun.
All right, good. But
I know
just
you were
wanted-
worried about that.
what's
Yeah, you're worried about
All
that.
right, we're
Sweating
talking
it out.
about durable power of attorneys, right? So,
Good segue.
so my durable power of the attorney to my left.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
So let's talk about exactly kind of what that is. So why don't you walk us through kind of the basics of what is a durable power of attorney and kind of where does it apply or where does it land in that preliminary estate planning?
Yeah, it's probably one of the most important documents you can have, second to the healthcare proxy, maybe first. You can battle about which order is right. But it's the document that lets somebody make financial decisions for you, okay? And here's why it's important. If you don't have it and somebody needs to make financial decisions for you, where you'll end up is probate court. Somebody is going to have to become your conservator. Becoming somebody's conservator is a pain in the neck. And then after you become the conservator, there's all kinds of ongoing reporting requirements back to the probate court about how you're behaving and how you're spending somebody's money and how you're handling their assets as the conservator.
All right,
so
so
it's not just getting the job, it's their ongoing responsibility.
Okay, so I'm with you at the barbecue right now, and you were just saying things like conservator, back and forth, probate court. you lost me. I mean, I'm just saying, like, kind of,
Okay.
like hypothetically, you lost me there. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean,
Doesn't make any sense, right?
Well, it's not that. It's just that I don't get it. I don't have a clear picture of like what that means.
All right,
When someone says you have to go to the probate court, I'm like, where's the probate? What is it? Is it like any courthouse?
Sure.
I walk in, I'm like, hey, can I talk to the probate guy? No, it's
All right,
that's not how it works.
so here's how we dumb it down. So if something ever happened to you, whoever I'm talking to at the barbecue.
So wait, let me back up even further.
Go ahead.
All right, so we're talking about durable power of attorney.
Yeah.
Right. So durable power of attorney is one of we mentioned earlier. It's one of
the big
four things that happen in like the primary elements of your estate plan, right? And you had mentioned, or it could be the most important one, maybe second only to the healthcare proxy. But when people think estate plan, what's the first thing you think? I think my will, right?
Yeah.
The will is like, because that's like, okay, when I die, this is where all my stuff. This is who's getting my baseball glove. This is who's getting my car. This is who's getting my house. This is getting all my stuff. So,
Sure.
so the will's kind of like that's like the fundamental piece of your estate plan, right? But we're talking about the essential documents that are going to enable you to process that estate, right? To make that.
Well, no, these are the healthcare proxy and the power of attorney are the documents that we need to use to take care of you while you're alive.
Exactly.
So it's not about being dead. We call it the probate while you're alive part of your plan.
There you go. So this is why you're alive. This is actually the part that is going to matter the most to you because you're still going to be alive.
Yeah. This is important. This is important.
Because how many times have you heard, well, you know what, I don't care who's getting my stuff because I'm going to be dead.
That's right.
Which is a fact. That's true.
You will not care.
Well, I don't know if you're going to care.
You won't care after you're gone.
But whether you care or not, we're not going to know.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
It's not going to affect anybody down here unless they're just imagining what you're thinking while you're dead. So yes, true. In fact, you're going to be dead, and things are going to happen, and there's nothing that you can do about it.
You didn't get it done. You didn't get it done. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
So the healthcare proxy and the durable power of attorney. These are things that happen while you're alive. These are your alive documents.
You can see the impact
Yes.
you can see the impact, potentially, you could see the impact of the lack of planning,
Yes.
right? Because now stuff needs to happen and it can't happen, right? And you may be like kind of with it. You may be physically, very challenged in doing certain things. You might not be able to get around as much as you used to. You might be cognitively impaired, which is maybe you don't have any real understanding of what's happening. But regardless, here's the other thing. Regardless, the people who care about you are going to have to deal with your inability or your unwillingness or your just flat out lack of planning.
Well, that's it, right? And everybody does. I mean, 99 out of 100 people, when you say, why are you doing an estate plan? Because I want to pass on my legacy. I want to make things easier for my family so they don't have to stress out and deal with me, right? Or deal with my stuff or have it be, have it not work out the way I originally had planned it or the way they understood it to happen. So essentially, you're doing the estate plan for the rest of you, for everybody else.
Well, I mean, think about it this way. Like if you want to know what your power of attorney does for you, think about all the things that you do for yourself financially, right? You pay your bills. You use your money. You either contribute or you're taking money out of your 401k. You're going to the bank every day. You're dealing with the cable company, the Eversource, right? Anything related, anything that you do related to money. Now what you have to think about is, if I couldn't do those things, how would somebody step in and start doing them for me, right? So
that's a great way.
I mean, that's really what it is, right? Or think about it. Think about walking into a bank pick a good friend of yours, right? Not so much a family member, or if you want to pick a family member, think about a family member. But
Jay Marsden.
But think about walking into a bank and saying, "Hey, I'm John's buddy. We do a radio show together. I don't know if you heard about it, but anyway, for a whole bunch of reasons, John he's not able to kind of handle some financial stuff. So he just wants me to come down here and take a bunch of cash out of his account because I got to pay some bills. You know what it's like. You're a bank. You get it, right? Bill pay stuff. So you got a piece of paper I can fill out. I need to take out $10,000. The bank, they'll laugh you at the door. Like, what are you doing? Like, get out of here. Why don't you just come in with a ski mask? It's easier, right? What are you doing here, right?
Shut up and give me the money.
This is kind of what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to access money or access financial stuff for somebody else. And I don't know what that financial stuff is going to look like, but it's usually things like pay bills,
Paying
take
a
money
mortgage.
out of a retirement account. You know, think about every year somebody's got to take a minimum required distribution out of their IRA. If you get dementia, you have some cognitive challenges, you're not going to remember, oh, I have to take that RMD this year, right? Because you're just going to forget because you're too busy focused on the here and now. Somebody needs to step in and do that. Property taxes, right? If you paid your mortgage off and you're paying your property taxes on your own quarterly, somebody's got to remember to do that. And somebody's got to access the funds to do that, because not a lot of people will be willing to say, you know what, I'll write the $2,800 property tax bill. Don't sweat it. Pay me back when you get a chance. They don't. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. No. And forget, that's if you have no mortgage. What about if you have a mortgage? Right? Who's gonna pay my mortgage? Something goes wrong at the bank. Something bounces at the bank. The auto pays don't get paid because somebody's not somebody doesn't understand your accounting system, right? Because everybody's got their own like weird accounting system, right?
You're right. Yours is probably unique, just like everybody else's, right? Yeah, this is how I do it, right?
Well, this account, this is the account that the mortgage comes out of. This is the account that the property tax comes out of, because I get a little tiny pension over here that goes in here that covers this. And so you get all these little chess pieces that nobody understands, and you haven't told anybody, and that person needs to kind of figure out what you're doing. So this is what your power of attorney, whoever you choose to do this is what they have to do. They got to figure out, they got to like unwrap your riddle of how you've been handling your finances so that everything keeps going the way it was going before you became unable to do it.
So what the durable power of attorney can do is it allows a person to access accounts, financial accounts.
To basically handle any financial transaction.
Okay, so
broadly defined as financial transaction.
As now, that doesn't mean that I can go into somebody's bank account and buy property for them.
Yes, it does.
So I can do that.
Well, let me say this. It depends on what your power of attorney says.
Okay, so talk to me about that.
Yeah, so basically your power of attorney is a laundry list of authorities that you give somebody.
So
for example,
what's a standard one that you're
So ours is 13 pages long. So it talks about the ability to open up bank accounts, close bank accounts, to sell real estate, convey real estate, take a mortgage on real estate, to set up a trust for somebody, deal with the trust for somebody, deal with an irrevocable trust for somebody, deal with digital assets, deal with vote proxies for somebody if they have an interest in a company, deal with somebody's company if they have an LLC or a privately held company. It's anything that we can think of that's related to something financial. And then again, there's some language in there that's designed to be broad because we're not going to see every situation perfectly. So there might be something that comes up that we're going to kind of have to reverse engineer the authority that's in a power of attorney. For example, we see a lot of older power of attorneys don't have the authority to not only change beneficiaries on a retirement account, but to make the power of attorney the beneficiary of a retirement account. So if you have one kid and that's your power of attorney and you forgot to put a beneficiary on a retirement account, they won't let the kid put the beneficiary as themselves on there.
You can't because that'd be self-interest.
That's right, self-dealing, which might make perfect sense depending on who your power of attorney is, right? So it might make sense to do that. So that's what that's basically what it is.
It's a relatively comprehensive doc, right?
Sure.
That says, okay, whatever you need to get done, and it's interesting because when you talk about, it's one thing if it's just like kind of retired guy, retired woman, like they have like their accounts, they have their property, maybe they own another property, but when you're talking about somebody who owns a business, right? Sure. And has and they're the primary stakeholder in the business, and they run that business. They have a payroll. They have employees. They have employee benefit packages. They have a 401k that they need to file. They need to file all the business documents that go along, like file tax returns and things like that.
Look, they might need to liquidate the business.
Yeah.
They might need to sell the business, and they don't have the authority to do those things. So the business, which used to exist as an ongoing entity that had real value, all of a sudden just starts to fall apart piece by piece, and then there is no business there. Now you're just selling a bunch of equipment or a bunch of boxes of papers or stuff like that. So it helps you to kind of take a much more comprehensive, kind of cohesive approach to some of these things.
So normally when we kind of advise clients, okay, you need to do your estate plan. You say, okay, you need a durable power of attorney. Usually, if it's a husband and wife, it's usually the one another are the durable powers of attorney. And then if they have adult children that are kind of that they trust or that are kind
Yeah,
of
everybody's in good standing.
that
Yep.
are involved kind of in their lives financially, then they oftentimes are named as like either a secondary durable power of attorney.
Yeah,
right?
backup, yep,
You can have
yep.
a backup durable power of attorney. So when we're saying, hey, you need to call your estate planning attorney, you need to figure out your estate plan. That the durable power of attorney, oftentimes it's kind of blown off, or it's like, I'll do that, or I'll get
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't get the weight it deserves.
No, and this is what we're talking about today because all it takes is one, and it could be not something that's like a permanent thing. It could be you just get sick, right? You get sick, or you get hurt, or you get injured, and then you can't do this
No.
the stuff that needs to get done. And,
No.
for a period of time, you can't pay you mentioned taking your required minimum distribution from an account. That's it. If you don't take that, you pay a penalty on that.
Costs you real money.
And the IRS or the Fidelity or whoever, they don't care. That doesn't matter.
But the other part is you're just going to want to. Somebody's going to want to just know kind of like what's the scope of what I'm dealing with, right? So your spouse, who you never set up as your power of attorney, and something happens to you, wants to call the bank where you keep your corporate account to see how much money is in the account, to see if she can make not only payroll for your employees, but payroll for you to pay her so she can keep the house going and the bills. If you don't have the power of attorney, the bank isn't going to talk to her. The bank is going to say, I'm sorry, I know that the situation is certainly unfortunate,
Yeah.
but the world...
You're not on this account.
You are not, and outside of your immediate world, we don't know who you are. We don't know what your relationship is like. I know you want to get, try to call and get your own bank balance, just missing like a couple of critical pieces of information. John, I need to know, you have to tell me what the last deposit was. Oh, I'm not in my office. I don't have the statement in front of me.
Sorry,
I
bro.
can't tell you what the last.
Sorry, Tom.
Or you make a couple of half-hearted, like, I think it was a withdrawal or a deposit, and the bank's like, nope, wrong,
Yeah.
wrong again. Call us when you have the information. And this is you calling on your
on your
account,
own
right?
account.
Forget when somebody else calls up. You don't sound like
They're laughing
John,
at you.
right? They're
Yeah.
like, I can't help you out. There's nothing I can do for you.
That's like when the bank guy becomes like the super cop, right? There.
Yes.
It's like, oh yeah. Oh, nice try, pal.
Yep,
Like,
yep.
Boom. Right. They hang that phone up. Yeah.
And remember,
stopped the fraud.
you're calling in, so the bank goes into like high alert fraud mode, right? Because you're calling to get information on an account that you clearly have no authority to access, right? So the bank is like, believe me, in the notes,
The birds are taking off.
Woman called, said she was this person, tried to get a copy of a balance, couldn't provide me any information. It's in there,
Send in the
right?
strike team.
Flag the account, whatever they got to do. Now you're really up against
You
it,
got guys
right?
in black pajamas rappelling down the side of your
People
house.
are just going to show up and say,
kicking in
"Look,
the
there's
door.
nothing you can do." And we're talking about. You keep mentioning the word durable. We're talking about a durable power of attorney. What that means is the day you sign it, it becomes effective. Meaning, if I sign my power of attorney today, giving you the authority, you have the authority right away. Nothing has to happen to me. I don't have to. You're not waiting for me to become incapacitated. You don't need a letter from a doctor. You
get to
have the
work.
authority. You can get to work right away in a good way, or you could get to work in a bad way. You could do bad things.
wouldn't get to work.
They talk about it as the keys to the kingdom all the time. When you pick somebody, you want to pick the right person. You don't want to pick somebody who's not a good person, because if you're starting to have questions about whether or not they're the right person, we need to have a bigger conversation.
All right, let's take a quick break because I'm going to talk about the mechanics of it.
Love it.
We had mentioned before about how if I don't have a power of attorney and I have to go through probate and then I have to get appointed as
Sure.
and all that stuff. So let's talk about that after a quick break. So don't go away. You're learning things today.
It's a big learning day. A lot
You're
of learning.
today, right? And we're kicking off the fall in the right way. And you know what? Actually, you're listening to this this Saturday. You know what tomorrow is? Everybody knows. Tomorrow's opening day for Old Man Softball.
I'm sure that'll be.
We'll get to that after the break. All right,
hear
don't
about
go
that all
away.
week.
We'll be right back.
And you're back, My FM 101.3, Money and the Law. Jay Marsden with the Marsden Law Group. John Drohan, Maynard for Financial. Tommy on the bag here, driving us around in the cart, getting it all done. And we're talking about powers of attorney today. And you were talking about before the break about talking about the mechanics of pulling it together.
I'm interested in the mechanics. So the when I have my power of attorney and I need to use it for something.
Sure.
Right? I need to use it. So what's the how does that work? Because you had mentioned earlier, you'd say, okay, well, if I don't have one, if I don't have a power of attorney, I need to access an account. How do I do that? I got to go through probate court. I have to get appointed.
Yeah, so let's talk about two differences. So the first thing is, so you want to become the person who gets the authority to go handle.
I have to do this.
Right? Let's say you got to go to a bank account and get some access to money. So somebody says, I need to make somebody my power of attorney. All right, so you call the office, we schedule a time, you come in, we talk about who you want as your power of attorney, we draft your power of attorney. Maybe it's that day, maybe it's a week later. You come in, you sign it, we make a copy, notarize it.
Bada boom, bada bing.
You have power of attorney. And whoever you want to give that authority to can then start going and doing things. Now, you don't have a power of attorney. We get a phone call from somebody, usually not you.
Yeah, it's not you.
That says, I need to help out my friend, my aunt, my cousin, my dad, my mother. She needs me to make some decisions on some financial stuff that's coming up, and she never got around to getting a power of attorney done, and I need to go ahead and start to do some stuff. And I go, okay, well, here's the first thing we got to do. I got to get a note. I got to get a form filled out from the doctor that says that the person that you're trying to help out actually really does, in fact, need somebody to become their conservator, because that's the path we're on. So I don't know who her primary is. You know what? Neither do I. Okay, let me go try to find that out.
Or I haven't seen my primary in 5 years.
Yep.
Or,
And she's at a facility, or they're at a facility in the hospital and the doctor, and we just
it's a mess.
But let's assume we can get that. So we get the note from the doctor. So now we got to file a petition in the probate court. So we'll pull that together, and that's going to take a little bit of time. That might take a week, 10 days, depending on what the workload's like, what the queue looks like to get that done. So then we'll file that in the probate court. But hold on, before we do that, are there other people involved? Well, yeah, I have a brother out on the West Coast. I have another brother. We don't really talk all that much. He lives in southeast, blah 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 somewhere. I don't know where he is. I think I have a phone number for him. Whatever it is, right? Okay. Well, by the way, those guys have to get notice that this is happening, and ideally they assent to it, because that would help make things a lot easier. Well, him and I don't get along, and one of the reasons that we don't get along is that we differ greatly on how we're going to care about my mother or my father, so I don't know if he wants me in trouble in charge of the money. And he's had a couple of run-ins with the law himself, but that's a different animal. That was a long time ago. He's kind of get his act together.
So the bottom line, it's a mess.
Oh,
right?
it's
a potential mess.
We get to serve mom and dad. Like, we have to serve whoever's getting the conservatorship. Somebody gets to walk up and go, just like on TV. Hey, you're served. And if they don't have no idea what's going on, it doesn't matter. Just got to serve them in person. Here you go.
And all I want to do is pay a real estate bill, right? All I want to do is pay the electric bill, right?
Yep. I just want to tap into some money that I know they have.
So why don't have to pay it, right? So I don't have to come out of my money and then have to deal with my sister and say, hey, listen, I paid the last $800 for this, and so all of this can be avoided. All of this can be already taken care of if I have a power. With
an orderly, well-organized, very convenient trip to your lawyer to get this done. On your schedule, on your time, very, very easy. You're doing somebody a favor
in your
downstream.
good health, in your right sound,
in your ability to make all the right decisions. So we do all that. So we do the right thing. So we know it's a mess. So we do the right thing. So now you got the power of attorney in hand. Thank God I listened to that radio show. Now I need to go use this thing. All right. Here's probably what's going to happen.
So how do I? Yeah, that's what I want. How do I use it?
So you're going to go. So first of all, you're going to walk into the bank. And the bank's going to say, thanks for coming in. Let's make an appointment for you. Because they're probably not going to deal with you just wandering into the bank. Because the banks don't like when you show up with the power of attorney. Right? Hey, I'm here to clean out an account. I get some paperwork.
If you could just, one too.
Yeah. If you could just write me a couple of checks. Bank checks would be great. That's fine.
They work.
So what usually happens is the bank's going to say, make an appointment with somebody in the office. The tellers are not going to help you out. Like, don't go to the teller window. They're going to send you over to the guy in the glass cubicle that have no idea what he does all day or what she does all day.
That's what they do. They're waiting for you to come in.
That's what's going to happen.
They're waiting for that power of attorney. Put that thing right here.
Yep. And then what they're going to do is they're going to take it and they're going to thank you for it. They're going to ask you for the original. If you have a copy, they don't love copies. They want the original. They won't keep your original in many cases, but what they will do is they'll look at the original, they'll hold it up to the light, they'll look for a seal that looks real, that makes sure that it really is the original.
They'll taste it like bite it like a piece of gold.
Push a little, it's almost like it's like a CSI thing, And then they're going to send it.
Peel off it, right?
And they're going to make a copy of it, and then they're going to send it away somewhere. All right, and you may be able to wait in the office, right, and out in the lounge where there's nothing to do but search on your phone. So you may either wait there or wait in their office, and they're going to send this up to some lawyer somewhere, somebody, right? And then that person is basically going to have judgment day over your power of attorney. Is it
I
real?
hope you got it at a
right?
good law firm.
Does it
right?
look
I hope
like
they
it's
know what they're
it's
doing.
legit? Are you the person you say you are? You know, so they're going to go
For all the
through that
right
whole
reasons,
thing.
though, because
Yep.
I'm sure that there's people that figure this out.
But hold on. But this is the bank, right? We'll talk about Fidelity in a minute. This is the bank, right? So the bank is going to do their thing, and they're either going to say thumbs up or they're going to say thumbs down. If it's thumbs up, they're going to have you fill out some paperwork. They're going to want to know who you are. There's kind of a know your customer, show them an ID, blah, blah, blah. And then they will, you'll sign a signature card, and they will add you to the account as POA. That's the ticket, right? And then you can sign checks and you can withdraw money and all that stuff. That's fine. And by the way, you might get asked for the document again at some point in time. You don't have to drag it around with everywhere with you. Once you're on there, you should be good. But, again, remember, you're going to come in. This is out of the mainstream of what usually happens. Usually, Mary comes in and takes money out of Mary's account. Bob comes in and takes money out of Bob's account, right? You come in and take money out of somebody else's account. It slows the process down. And unless you're the known quantity and you're in there all the time, eventually it'll get a little easier, but in the beginning, it's a little slow, right? It's a little slow.
This is the easy bank, right? This is the bank. This is Middlesex Savings Bank.
Yeah.
This is a bank that I can walk into. If I'm at USAA, which many of my clients
Oh, you mean with no branch?
Yeah, with no branch, with no. This is all happening via the phone, via scanning and sending documents.
And you make a great point. And scanning. This isn't take a picture of it. This is you're going to get this into a PDF format that they can look at. And if your scanner is from 1982 and you're working off the dot matrix, or you're going to, you're going to Staples to see if they can scan it. Like, again, you laugh about it, but if you don't, if your technical capabilities, aren't up to snuff, moving this thing around is no easy task, right? And if you think I'm just going to take, ours is 13 pages long. I'm going to take 13 pictures, right, which is not a PDF.
Doesn't work like that.
And I'm going to send them individually off. Like, you're just talking about bringing this thing to a slow crawl. That's what you're doing, right? So that's the bank. So ultimately, you'll hand-to-hand combat at the bank to eventually get it to where you can actually do something. Or they're going to tell you it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't let you do the things you want to do.
Your power of attorney, or for whatever reason, and we've seen this before, where when I'll ask clients, I'm like, so let's talk estate plan. Do you have the four big ones? Oh yeah, we did that. We did that with our lawyer, right? We did that we did that like 10 years ago. We're all set with that. I'm like, okay, when was the last time you reviewed it? 10 years ago. And I'm like, okay, so this is important, and people don't think it's important because, again, no one thinks about estate planning as important until it's time to estate plan, right?
That's right.
Or until someone like you or me or Tom says, it's important.
Yeah.
Like, look at this now, because if you don't look at it now, when you need it, it's going to be messed up.
Well, and what we tell everybody is, look, these things don't expire, but they definitely get stale, right? So people come rolling in here with a 20-year-old POA, and we'll say to them in the office, I use that exact line. I'll say, it would probably be helpful to get a fresh timestamp on this, because it gets looked at a little bit differently at the bank when it's 20 years old, right? It's like 2 lifetimes away. The person who's helping you at the bank wasn't even alive when you drafted this, and they're like, hold on for a second here. I don't remember what was going on, but I remember.
This was typed on a typewriter, right?
Yes, that's right. This parchment paper feels a little different. And so the bank might ask for additional supporting documentation to prove that this thing is still even legit. Yeah. And if you're not working with a lawyer, you're not going to know what that is, right? And there's some affidavits that we've drafted for clients that kind of prove this thing is still real, but you're not going to know that, right? That's the first thing. And then the other thing, and this is what we see all the time, we're talking about a durable power of attorney. You sign it and it goes into effect. I can't tell you how many people come in the office and say to us, yeah, I got a power of attorney, it's all good. And it's what we call a springing power of attorney, which means it doesn't go into effect until you become incapacitated. And then there's some things that you have to do.
You got to prove it, right?
You got to prove it.
Doctor's note, right?
Sometimes you got to get 2 doctor's notes, all right? Because people think, I'm really buttoning this thing up. Yeah. So now look at, you're at the bank. The power of attorney is 15 years old, okay? So the bank's already suspect. They were looking for an affidavit, right, to get this thing.
You got to get a note from 2 dead doctors.
And then you're going to go find 2 doctors for your person who probably doesn't even have one doctor, right? And the doctors get, by the way, doctors get a little squeamish about, I'm not really sure I want to put my name to a piece of paper that might show up at a court proceeding somewhere because you run off with all the money. I'm not really sure that he's really all that.
I'm going to have to see him.
Well, either I'm going to have to see him, which I can't do for a week and a half, or when I see him, he's had a great night's sleep and he's had a full breakfast. So now the doctors say, I don't think he's incapacitated. So you can't get him into the bank. You know if you bring him to the bank that it's going to be a circus. So now, but the doctor won't sign off. Or even worse, one doctor signs off. No, one doctor
even
signs
better.
off. Yes.
Right?
Now
Second
you're caught.
opinion.
Now you're
Yeah.
caught in purgatory.
Right, a
Now you're
second
caught in
opinion.
purgatory.
That's what you
I
get.
got a doctor that says he can't. So now I can't sign a new one. I can't fix this because I got a doctor's note that says that he can't. So again,
How do I fix that? All right, so what do I do? So this whole springing power of attorney. Why would I do that?
it's a Hail Mary for people who say, look, Jay, the only person I have in my life is my sketchy nephew, and if he's gonna like rob me blind, I just want to make sure it happens after I don't know he's robbing me blind. That's really what they're saying.
Sketchy
Like
nephew,
that's the thing. I don't have anybody. I don't want him to have the authority now. I think he'll do the right thing if I lost my fastball, but I don't know. But I don't want to be robbed
But
while
one of
I'm.
the things you could do, right, theoretically, could you hire someone to be a durable power of attorney? Could you have your attorney set your attorney or somebody like, and you could say, look, and have a compensation plan. Say, look, if this happens to me, I'm hiring you. I'm hiring your firm. I'm hiring your whatever to be able to do all these things for me.
You could. You usually can't hire your financial people because there's usually the firms
There's
have some
conflict of
inherent
interest,
conflict of
right.
interest. They don't love that. You could hire a lawyer. A lot of lawyers might do it. We've been asked to do it countless times. To be frank, we don't love doing
Yeah.
it because it can turn into either a bill paying project. And lawyers just aren't set up to do bill pay, right? They're just not. They're set up to bill. They're set up to bill.
Not at their billable hours.
And
no.
they're set up to bill and get paid, but they're not set up to like pay
bills.
your
Exactly.
Eversource bill
Just
and
ask
pay your.
R&R Landscaping.
You know?
I know. Yeah.
So it's they don't love doing it because it's just not, they'll say, well, couldn't you turf it off to like a paralegal in your office? It's like it's just not something
It's
that
not a thing.
it's
Yeah.
not a thing. And how do you and to your point, how do you bill for that? Like
Yeah.
so I have to go to the bank and I got to fight with the bank for 3 hours and I'm going to bill somebody $1,200
Oh, you know how to
just
bill
to
for
go to
that.
the bank
You-
and square this
I
up.
think you'll be able to
So,
figure that out.
It doesn't.
Listen,
We don't love
I
doing
was
it.
there
We don't
all
love doing
day.
it. I'd rather do it in my capacity as a trustee. It's a little easier. The bank thing is a little hard. So some lawyers do it. Not everybody
As
does
long
it.
as you could do it kind of in Cape, maybe you could be a Cape Cod power of attorney. I'll do this, from Thursday evening to Sunday morning.
That's right.
As long as there's a Bloody Mary involved.
From May 31st to October 15th. So it's lawyers don't love it. Some of them will do it, but they don't love it. A lot of it too depends on the relationship, how long you've known the client. Somebody rolls in and says, look, I don't know anybody. I've never met you before, and I want you to take over everything. And you're like, hold on. And
Hold
again,
on a second, Mr. Wayne. I don't know.
so that's the other thing. Like if somebody asks you to be his power of attorney, like, well, what are the resources like? Because now you got to start making decisions like, well, we have to sell the house because you need care. I don't want to sell the house. Well, what am I going to like? What I'm saying, like it puts you in these weird care, financial collisions, and the lawyers don't love that, for all the right reasons.
Right.
So where were we
Although,
going with this?
Mr. Springsteen, for you, I'm going to make an exception. I absolutely will take care
Yes,
of this.
absolutely.
Yes,
Let me put these guitars in a safe place.
Yeah.
That's right.
Speaking of guitars, do you want to sit and
Yep.
just maybe? Yeah.
Yep. This book of all this unwritten music. Let me
And I
put this
just want,
somewhere.
you don't mind if I video this to send it to my friends.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So that's how it happens. So we're talking about. So ideally, it's durable. Ideally, you go to the bank. They're going to put you through
So
some hoops.
durable power of attorney, not
They're gonna
the
do some hoops.
springy
Yep.
thing. Yeah.
All right. So let's take a break and we'll talk about the Fidelity story and what the financial.
We don't have a
story-
lot of time.
All right.
Quick break. We'll come right back.
We'll come right back.
All right. Don't go away.
All right, and we're back. My FM 101.3, Jay Marsden, John Drohan. So we're talking financial power of attorneys here. So we talked about the bank and what they're going to jump you through. So here's the thing you need to be aware of with some of these financial institutions. It happens all the time. You roll into the Fidelity office, so convenient, I can go in and talk to somebody. You bring your power of attorney. You think it's going to be like the bank, okay? It's not going to be like the bank. Fidelity has their own power of attorney form that they want filled out. And they want it filled out by, wait for it, the person who made you the power of attorney.
Good luck.
So when you walk in, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
You got the power of attorney. My friend, my family member, they did the planning. I'm here to do the thing with the Fidelity
Send
account.
this thing to the lawyer.
And,
Scan it
and
send
they
it, right?
say, here you go. That's a great idea. Just sign this form, fill this form out, have your person fill this form out, and then we'll add you as power of attorney. And you say, well, hold on.
But what happens if they're incapacitated?
Wait a minute. I'm only here because they're unable to make the decisions. If they could sign that form, I wouldn't be here.
Not doing
they
this 'cause
would
I
be
want
here.
to. Yeah, believe me.
Yep. And round and round and round you go. So the power of attorney, super powerful, but remember, you've got to get through a couple of walls to kind of get to the money. And the people who have your money.
There is a way to do that, right? There's a way to do. I know there's a way to do that at Schwab, where like that if they can't, if the person is unable to do that, then there needs to be some form of document. There's some affidavit that gets signed and notarized and says this person is blah 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 is incapacitated or unable to do this.
There's more hoops to jump through.
But it takes time.
Yes.
And it's another step in this process that if you have to take distributions from a retirement account, or if you have to, whatever, like take a required minimum distribution or anything.
You can move money, do a trade. You want to do a trade?
You have to trade.
Markets cratering. Somebody's portfolio was ridiculously more aggressive than it should have been.
Sure.
But it was their portfolio, and they were making the decisions, and they were comfortable with it. And you roll in, and you're like, given the entire new earthbound shift here, that this person is now, needs full-time care and needs to pay for a
micro-cap.
That's right. Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't be completely invested in, Bitcoin. We need to make some changes. And if you need 3 weeks, maybe, to get some forms filled out, to make some changes, to get yourself on there, a lot can happen in 3 weeks.
Right.
So you're not moving with, a lot of nimbleness, if you will. And so this, either needs to get set up ahead of time, which some people are very reluctant to do, and you don't even know you get the job yet. So you really need to kind of think this through. And by the way, this is just when somebody's, again, we used this example earlier, this is when somebody's done the planning. Like, forget, I got to go start the process of conservatorship, but I need to make some trades. Good luck to you. Like, forget it. Like, the whole house could burn down by the time you finally get around to, now I have the authority to do something, right? You're in a holding pattern.
So the kind of what goes hand in hand with this, and we're just about out of time. We've learned so much today.
Oh, I bet we have.
But what comes hand in hand with the power of attorney is the understanding of what the power of attorney actually has power over. And we've talked about this many, many times on the show. Is that okay? So if I make my wife as the power of attorney, right? And this is husband and wife. This is people who've been married 35 years. How many times have you seen where if one person kind of is responsible for the finances, the other spouse is kind of like, I don't really know.
I don't really know where the bodies are buried. Yeah.
Exactly. So well, not exactly.
No, but what we have said is that at some point, we used to say, look, if I'm your power of attorney, husband and wife for each other, like let them keep that job as long as possible. We started to shift away from that a little bit, and we say, look, at some point, it's time to not be each other's power of attorney. Probably for one of the reasons that you just mentioned, which is not only was my other spouse the one, or my spouse was the one who handled all of the finances, and so I really wouldn't know what to do. But secondly, my own cognitive issues or my own physical frailties have made me doing this job much more difficult. So at some point, it might be time to take each other out of the line of fire and move the kids up and just say, look, keep us in the loop as to what's going on. But if somebody's got to go to the bank, if somebody's going to fight with Fidelity, if somebody's got to sign some deeds and stuff like that, I just don't have the gas in my tank to do this. Give the job to the kids. Don't cling to it to the bitter end. Because then what happens is we got to get you out because you can't do the job either.
So the last thing, and the last question, and this is a question because, and I know every institution is different, but if let's say, once I'm established as the power of attorney and the institution recognizes me, because we've seen this before, where like I said, Schwab is once they know you, once you're there, then
you're indicated on the account.
Then it's not an issue. But there's some institutions that require that you to kind of jump through this process almost every time. Like if it's not maybe not a financial, but like a mortgage, mortgage company or things of those.
Well, because they don't know if you've made changes.
Well, that's it.
Right? Like once I'm on your Schwab account as your POA, and then 6 weeks from now you change it and make it somebody else, unless you tell Schwab's not going to know. They're going to keep dealing with me because I'm on the account. And people, when you have your accounts scattered to the four corners, it becomes hard to remember who was on what.
And so this is another reason. The whole scattered, like I have 11 different bank accounts for 11 different things. Good luck with that, right?
Oh. Go through this 11 times.
Yeah.
After your third time, you're like, I'm done. I don't want this job ever again.
Quit.
Yeah. I resign. That's what you do.
All right. So what have we learned?
POA.
Durable power of attorney. Durable. Make it
durable.
Yeah, make it durable. All right.
If you can.
Yeah, if you can. All right. Thanks for joining us on Money in the Law, My FM 101.3 in the Holliston Hub. We'll see everybody next time.
Yeah, you will.
Right? Tomorrow, this is Saturday. Tomorrow, opening day for Old Man Softball.
Go get 'em.
Yeah,
Be a lot of
we'll be at
lot of
Stoddard
pull-
Park.
be a lot
I'll
of
see you
pulled
down at-
hammies. There'll be a
see
lot
you
of
down at
pulled
Sta-
hammies. There'll be a
No,
lot of
everybody's ready to go.
A lot of walking
We've
wounded
had a
tomorrow.
long spring training. Everybody's ready to rock. All right, we'll see everybody next time on Money in the Law.
Have a great week, everybody.